You know, you raised another important issue that I'd like, how much and how are we translating this to the next generation? I mean, clearly you're in a program that is, but I want to how in your classes, how is this being taught? We'll come back. How are you guys getting a sense that we're getting here of the importance of D-Day?
I think for me, my high school, our history classes focused a lot on the Civil War and previous time periods, and then by the time we got to the end of the year, it was time to talk about World War II, but we didn't have enough time. So they would give, this battle name, but not a lot of specific information. And I mean, I'm lucky my father's a history teacher, so I did get that perspective, but at my high school there wasn't a lot of
well, that's the thing. You get to the end of the year and there's not enough time to go into something that should take the whole year to go into. How about you?
I had a similar experience. I think that a lot of my history classes in high school would go up to the World War II point and also wouldn't go beyond that, or just be focusing on World War II, but we wouldn't really learn about all of the battles very much. So I think I should have learned more.
Well, you will learn. There's always time, right? Michael, do you want to?
I think I can speak for several of my colleagues here that when they come into our classrooms, when it comes to World War II, we do our best to make sure that the students have a good understanding of the importance of that event. I don't think we would have the world we live in today, for better or worse, if it didn't happen. We would have a very, very different world, and I think a lot of it would be for the worse. I know Professor Malik here, he has designed his own World War II and Nazi Germany class at Hack, and is extraordinarily detailed and passionate, as I am, about conveying the understanding of the importance of this event. I think it is perhaps the turning point in World War II. It's arguable by many people, but it is the turning point that changed the momentum of the war. And I'm going to turn this over to Rob.
They know Private Ryan. That's a lot of my students when they come in. They've in high school. They get to the end of the semester or the end of the year, and they're rushing through things. So they show them Private Ryan, or they've seen Band of Brothers, a different perspective of it. They don't understand the significance, the importance. There are 5 beaches. They don't know that. And don't know who Eisenhower was president. They don't know that. It gets muddled in that end of the year, mishmash that takes place, and it's sad. It is. I do teach some of the specialty courses at Hack, and the students we get in those courses are the ones who want to know more. Those are the ones who want to go into the detail and such. But for the general students,
who else wants to? Yes, go. That's in the back. He has not had a chance to talk. Yes.
Thank you. Well, as a teacher in a local school district here in Carlisle, I would argue that the reason is part of that is our history books are generalization textbooks. How do you cram all that into 800 pages? And as a history teacher myself, I would say shame on the history teacher that isn't teaching all of U.S. history. We don't get to the end and rush through World War II in my class. And Emily's a testament to that.
Do you take up the role of the black soldier?
I take up the role of the individual. And so we've looked at Latino, we've looked at Mexican Americans and German Americans and African Americans, because it's the story of the individual in World War II, not the battles and not the generals and not the politics that's important. And that's why we started the Silent Heroes program in my class.
Tell us about the Silent Heroes program. Yeah.
So at the beginning of the year, every student actually selects an individual who served from the state of Pennsylvania. My ultimate goal is to honor every single Pennsylvanian that's buried in the Normandy American Cemetery. We have the most of any state. It's over 1,200 individuals. We actually send to the National Archives for their records. We send to Fort Knox for their individual deceased personnel files. And they start in September building a website to honor that individual. There are 5 sections that they develop. And at the end, they actually write a eulogy for their soldier. And it's interesting because these students have written songs for their soldier. I've had students write poems to their soldier. And the one thing they always say at the end is, they're almost like family to me. And that's where history is important, because history isn't in the textbook and it isn't in your head. It's in your heart. And how do you get to that? And by telling every single individual story, we have a Carlisle High School graduate buried at Normandy American Cemetery that no one knew about until I started the project in 2011.
Right.
And now he's on our wall of honor. But no one knew his story. And the only reason he enlisted is his mom was single. He had 4 younger siblings, and she couldn't figure out how to make ends meet. And when he signed up, he volunteered to sign up. He signed up to be a glider pilot, and he sent every single penny back to his mom so that his brothers and sisters would graduate from high school. Those are the stories that make World War II special. And
Yeah.
every
Emily, I saw you
individual
shaking your
is
head.
different.
Did you write a poem or a song to your soldier?
I wrote a eulogy, and I, like Mr. Wagner said, they become family, and I actually contacted the family of the Pinder family, and it's that family story is actually very sad. He and his brother enlisted, and on my website I have one of the last known photographs of the brothers together. Their father, Hal, or Harold, was in the 82nd Airborne Division and was shot down and presumed killed in action. And Joe was the only one who believed he was actually alive. And he died on his 32nd birthday on D Day. And turns out his brother was MIA behind enemy territory for I believe at least 6 months, and then was captured and was a prisoner of war for the remainder of the war, I believe. And you know, I'm still in contact with the family to this day, and I've actually never met the family. I'm actually going down to Pittsburgh for the 75th anniversary of D Day, and I'm gonna finally see the medals, his Medal of Honors, and all of his other medals in person, and finally meet the family.
How many kids are in your class? Young people are in your class?
It was mostly juniors and seniors. I think my year is about 15 students.
Okay. So 15 students are getting your experience at least.
Yes.
Because you're obviously connected to this.
Oh, yes.
This is not just even reading the book. This is like you're living this.
Yes.
Wow.